What's good, YouTubers and YouTubettes? This is JB Sports, back again with another one. R.I.P. to Biz Marquis. Died at 57 years old. Had great hits like The Vapors and You Say He's Just a Friend. Oh baby, you got what I need. And you say he's just a friend. And you say he's just a friend. Oh baby, you got what I need. And you say he's just a friend. And you say he's just a friend. Biz Marquis, he dabbled in a little bit in acting too, man. I think he had a guest appearance on the Wayans Brothers. And I think he even had a guest appearance on Martin, if I'm not mistaken. So he dabbled in acting. He was a writer, rapper, a multi-talented individual. And my thoughts and prayers goes out to the Biz Marquis family. Now let's talk a little boxing. And let's talk about the aftermath, Dr. Dre aftermath of Brian Castano versus Jermell Charlo. Will it be an immediate rematch? Or each fighter go into another direction? Now we got mandatories coming up for both fighters. Brian Castano, I think gonna have to get on the plane and fly down under to Australia and take on Castano-Tszyu. Castano-Tszyu said right after the fight, he congratulated Brian Castano like he felt Brian Castano won the fight, and basically said, I'll see you soon. So Brian Castano and his team, Al Haymon and the PBC gonna have to outbid some people with some deep pockets in Australia that's gonna be looking to put that fight over there. So, in a way, Castano-Tszyu talking, he's led to believe by some people, their deep pockets, they gonna move heaven and earth to get that fight over there in Australia. He's already talking about fighting him over there in Australia, and he's looking forward to fighting him in front of a huge crowd. Probably fight him in that same stadium Jeff Horn fought Manny Pacquiao. He's talking about they can get 60,000 people in attendance. So Al Haymon and the PBC, they're gonna have to make sure they have their I's dotted and their T's crossed. They need to have neutral judges and have a neutral referee, because he's gonna be behind the 8 ball going into that fight, man. He's gonna need to get a stoppage of multiple knockdowns and dominate that fight to get a decision. Because that fight's semi-competitive, he in danger of getting robbed. Just ask Manny Pacquiao. So, he's the next big thing over there in Australia. They got a lot of support behind him. They believe he's going to be the next champion. He called out Jermell Charlo too, but Jermell Charlo's got a mandatory in the WBA. That's next. And he's got a mandatory coming up in the WBC. Now, as far as Jermell Charlo go, his WBA mandatory, Charlo-Murtazaliev, fought on a non-televised undercard for his fight with Castano that took place this past Saturday. And he was really supposed to be the next fight for Jermell Charlo. But they got the WBA and his team to agree to basically step aside and delay that mandatory, with his team believing that they would be next in line for basically the winner of that fight. Now that fight did not have a winner, it had a draw. But with that being said, they're not gonna be. I don't think the WBA gonna be willing to delay again or step aside again. Him and his team gonna be willing to step aside for a second time in order to allow Jermell Charlo to pursue other options, in particular the rematch with Brian Castano, which I told you is not gonna happen because the WBA was gonna mandate. Basically, I already mandated that Castano-Tszyu must fight the winner of Charlo-Castano. Must start negotiation within 180 days. With the fight being a draw, that means he's going to have to go in negotiations with Brian Castano. So, in my opinion, I think that fight's happening next, and I think that fight will take place over there in Australia. And I think Jermell Charlo will take care of his WBA mandatory. That fight will be on Showtime. If Charlo is victorious, and if Castano is victorious, maybe we get that fight in the first quarter of 2022. And I say maybe with a capital M, because you're gonna have Erickson Lupin knocking on the door looking for his opportunity. And it'll be probably well over a year since he's been the #1 contender in the WBC, and he'll be looking to fight for that belt. So we got a lot of different scenarios that could play out. We got a lot of fish is in the fire. Fish is in the fryer, as they say down south. And we will see what happens, and we will see what transpires. Now, the pound for pound #1 fighter in a lot of people's eyes, not mine, Canelo Alvarez, is setting the stage to take his next fight. It's going to be on September 18th. And everything I'm hearing is going to be JBsports. That fight's going to be on the Zone. The Zone pay-per-view and on the Zone app. It's not going to be cater plant, as Eddie Hearn is looking to basically promote the Zone in the United States. And he don't want his #1 fighter, #2 fighter, depending on how you got him and AJ ranked, fighting on a competitors network and a competitors platform. Eddie Hearn did a real smart thing here about 3-4 weeks ago. It was under the radar because he put on an event during the same weekend they had Gervonta Tank Davis versus Mario Barrios and Vasily Lomachenko versus Nashiro Nakatani. He put on a card in Mexico that was shown on the Zone. Matchroom Boxing promoted the card along with Canelo Alvarez's promotions. Had a lot of fighters that wasn't getting no shine, that were unknown. Eddie Reynoso, the trainer of Canelo Alvarez, told Eddie Hearn that we got a lot of fighters down here that don't get the publicity, man. They don't have the right promotions behind them, but they're very good fighters. They just need the opportunity. And Eddie Hearn has put them on the Zone platform and has put Matchroom Boxing behind them, and basically got in bed with Canelo Alvarez over there in Mexico. And he did that because he wants to continue to work with Canelo Alvarez, gain Canelo Alvarez's trust, and basically guide Canelo Alvarez's career. And that's part of it right there. So that was a smart, shrewd move by Eddie Hearn. That's why you hear Eddie Hearn talking about the negotiations, even though Canelo Alvarez don't have a contract with the Zone anymore. Therefore, don't have any, really don't any have any kind of alliances with Eddie Hearn. But Eddie Hearn has got in through the old proverbial back door through Canelo Alvarez Promotions. He's going to put on several cards throughout the end of this year, through the summer, fall, and winter. They're going to be putting on several cards over there in Mexico, giving fighters that ordinarily would get no shine, publicity, and hopefully jumpstart their careers. He's doing that. And with that being said, he's pretty much aligned himself with Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez is pretty much aligned himself with Eddie Hearn. So he's the lead negotiator in the cater plant negotiations. He's the manager, advisor, basically the de facto promoter, and he's pushing Canelo Alvarez to take on JBsports. You know, Canelo Alvarez thankful that Canelo Alvarez thankful to Eddie Hearn that he's giving fighters up under his promotion. They shine and getting them publicity and helping jumpstart his promotional company, hopefully to become one of the major boxing promoters in the 21st century. Is looking to basically go with what Eddie wants to go with, and that's JBsports. So that's what's going on behind the scenes and behind closed doors. Look for JBsports to take on Canelo Alvarez next. Now, as far as Errol Spence Jr. versus Manny Pac-Man Pacquiao, I'm hearing through the grapevine they're looking to do an all-welterweight undercard for Errol Spence Jr. Manny Pac-Man Pacquiao, similar to what they're doing with the Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder, the 3 all-heavyweight undercard. They're going to be looking to do that. And I'm hearing that the co-main event will be Cuba's own Yordenis Ugas, who now resides in Florida, defending his Super WBA welterweight title versus Keith One-Time Thurman. That'll be the co-main event. I'm hearing also will be on the card Sean Showtime Porter versus Josecito Lopez, as Lopez was promised a big fight by Al Heyman after he fought on the Errol Spence Jr. Danny Garcia fight. He fought on the undercard of that fight. That'll be the fight. And the lead-up fight will be Jamal James defending his WBA, his regular version of the WBA welterweight title versus, I can't even pronounce the guy's name, but he's got 2 back-to-back mandatories. The first one, he'll take care of that as the opener of the pay-per-view card. The guy he's a European fighter. That'll be the first fight. And then you'll have Sean Porter versus Josecito Lopez. And then you'll have Yordenis Ugas versus Keith One-Time Thurman. And then you have Manny Pacquiao versus Errol Spence Jr. That's what I'm hearing through the grapevine. Now, they got to make sure the numbers work for all fighters, as Keith One-Time Thurman and Sean Showtime Porter are established fighters with established names, and they're going to expect a certain amount of guaranteed minimum. So they got to work the numbers. Maybe they cut a deal with those two guys. They get maybe a small percentage of the pay-per-view, you know, upside for that fight. So we will see what happens, and we will see what transpires. But that's some of the things that I'm hearing through the grapevine. And we will see how it all plays out in the coming days and coming weeks. Look for an announcement for Canelo Alvarez's next fight this week, as they are really 2 weeks out before his scheduled fight, September 18th, on Mexican Independence Day weekend. It'll be an Mexican Independence weekend, as that fight will be going down there. At September 11th, Oscar De La Hoya will be fighting on Triller against a MMA fighter. So we'll see how it plays out, ladies and gentlemen. Hit the like button if you like the content of this video, and subscribe to JB Sports, the man, the myth, the legend, and I'll holler.